Turkey's exports decreased to $10.4 billion in February, a 13% drop from the same month of the previous year, mainly due to the loss in the Turkish Lira's value, the Turkish Exporters Assembly, TM, announced on March 1. The country's exports also declined by 6.7% to $22.8 billion in the first 2 months of this year from the same period of 2014, TM said by a written statement. The rise in the US dollar's value creates significant pressure over exported goods unit prices across the world. The loss of Turkey in its exports to only the European Union was $900 million due to forex changes. As exporters, we also faced a loss of around 20% in the unit prices in other regions due to the rise in the US dollar's value, as well as decreasing demand, TM head Mehmet Büyükekşi said. He noted Turkish exporters expect more cuts in interest rates from the central bank. We want the central bank to decrease the benchmark rate to around 6 to 7%, he said. The bank lowered its main one-week repo rate for the second straight month on Tuesday, trimming it by 25 basis points to 7.5%. Turkey most increased its exports to Iran among its 30 largest export markets. The country's exports to Iran increased by 19.9% in February from the same month of the previous year, according to the TM data. Turkey made the most exports to Germany, Britain, Iraq, the United States and Italy in February. Turkey's exports to Germany, however, declined by 11.8% in February from the same month of 2014, by 26.7% to Iraq and by 15.7% to Italy. Its exports to Britain increased by 5.1% and to the US by 16.5% in February 2015 over the same period of 2014. In other markets, Turkey increased its exports by 164% to Kuwait in February from the same month of the previous year, by 116% to Qatar, by 110% to Yemen, by 97% to Singapore and by 86% to Oman. Turkey's exports to the EU regressed by 11.2% in February, to Africa by 28.3% and to the Middle East by 7.5%, but increased to North America by 14.1% and Far Eastern countries by 12.1%. The global markets have been fluctuating. The biggest move will be taken by the U.S. Federal Reserve Fed. We will also be closely following the economic growth rates in the EU, our biggest market, and the developments in Greece, Büyükekşi said. He noted the rise in the spheres of influence of the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant, ISIL, in Yemen, Libya, and some part of Egypt as well as Iraq and Syria affects Turkey's neighboring markets negatively. Despite a slight increase in oil prices and the Russian ruble's value, another neighbor's, Russia's, economic woes has been deepening unfortunately, he said. Turkey needs to increase its exports with much higher added value, Büyükekşi said. The biggest exports were made by the automotive sector, with around $1.7 billion in exports in February, followed by the ready-made clothing sector with around $1.2 billion in exports and the chemical products sector with over $1.1 billion.